service because there's another act of welcoming that I need to do. We're also joined on this Shabbat by Cantor, Amy, Marty's sister. Cantor Amy Daniels. She is the sister of Marty Eisenstein, who has been at our congregation as a high holiday cantor, but she's also the daughter of Ike and Alezah Eisenstein. Ike and Alezah were members of our congregation for many, many, many years. And when I say Ruach and Koach, spirit and strength, that's really Ike and Alezah. We could have a debate of which one was Ruach and which one was Koach. They were the founders of the Shalom Singers. Alezah was the genesis of so many of our cultural programs. Alezah was one of those, and Pollock will always tell me that Alezah was the one that called her when they came to town, because when Jewish people came to town, there were so few people back in the day that every person got called and went out for dinner. And Mindy also likes to tell me that your mom, they went Dutch. Amy is here. We had contact over the summer, and I said, are you going to be here in Florida at some point? And she said this weekend. And it was wonderful because I am so excited that you're here. Your parents meant so much to this place, and they meant so much to me. And any chance we have to honor and remember and bring their light into this place is so important. In fact, when we get to the end of the service, we're going to say B'tei Avon. And B'tei Avon isn't part of the prayer. It finishes with Amen. B'tei Avon means have a hearty appetite. But that was an Ike. That was something Ike always did, and it just became the minhag and custom of this place. And he slipped that in too. Just extraordinary people who made, this would not be Temple Beth Shalom without them. And so, Amy, it is so wonderful that you are here with us, bringing their spirit and joy into this place. We light our Shabbat lights to welcome this day of rest and reflection and renewal.
Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us sing. There are some
And I have to say, I should have thought through before I invited you. Now, I say that because you have to realize that Ike passed away between Francis and Jean. 2004, and I remember we didn't even have a Nathaniel yet. We had the kids, to Anna and Adina, in the car, and we were heading to Tampa for her head of Hurricane Francis. And I got the call that Ike was in the hospital. And Mindy Pollock, a member of our congregation, a leader, went and visited, and then I came back. And I remember that visit so vividly because I remember sitting with Ike, and Amy was saying that when he heard me coming down the hall, he perked up because he hadn't been talking very much and said, "Hey, it's Rabbi." And only the way Ike could boom out. I remember him telling me, and shushed everybody in the room, just had me sitting there. He said, "Rabbi, I've been making a study of people, and I've seen that if people smile, then people will smile back at you. And I've been practicing my smile." That was just such an Ike thing to say. And I remember Alezah came to me and she said, "You know what, we're going to have a film program, a cultural film program." And here I am, a new rabbi at this place. I kind of knew what I was doing. Made up a lot since then. And she filled this place with folks from all over the community coming here. And that was just the two of them. They filled this place with song. They filled this place with light. They filled this place with huge, incredible smiles. If your mom was 2005 when she passed away, or 2006? It was like 9 months after your death. So it was 2005, 2006. So 15 years they've been gone, and yet it feels like they were just here yesterday. Ike passed between Francis and Jean, and then, I want to back up a little bit because Alezah had already been talking up Marty coming as a high holiday cantor, Amy's brother Marty, who lives in Greece. And wouldn't you know it, that must have been 2004, right before those hurricanes. We had to send our high holy day cantor back early because here the hurricanes might have been a year later. No, it was that year, it was 2005. We had to send our high holiday cantor who was visiting the area away. And so, of course, Alezah pulls out the CD of Marty singing Kol Nidre, and he was here. But there was also a time when Marty was here in person. We were between regular cantors. He came for the high holy days. And wouldn't you know it, I think that was the year of Hurricane Irma. Richard and Jane can tell stories of fleeing with your brother. And then now, when we've made arrangements for Amy to come and join us, what did we have this year? A hurricane. Just saying, we might need some sage or something like that. And this is something, and I'm so glad you're coming forward to share some stories with us. You have to realize, regardless of what's happening, there's always that Eisenstein smile. That's always that song. You hear stories of song sessions, of song time, of celebration. And so we welcome you forward. Thank you so much for coming to bring your parents' light and love to us.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Bernholz, really. This is really a trip down memory lane for me, but a few phrases pop into my mind that my father loved to use, and one is the joy of Jewish living. There was actually a book put out by somebody named Spiro, but I believe they dedicated a bench outside, and the plaque says the joy of Jewish living. And that was something that they passed on to all four of us. Certainly that was something we imbibed in our family. And my father also wrote, as he became a senior citizen, one of the classes he took was memoir writing. And so we each received from him a bound book. And so I thought, I looked through it, and I thought I'd share a couple of things he wrote. I'm sure that many of you will relate to it, as he writes about how they came to Vero Beach and found this temple, and then what they did once they got here. So the other thing you need to know about my father, just one, maybe I'll backtrack. There's a wonderful picture of a very young Rabbi Bernholz next to my dad. I mean, he looks younger than that guy back there. Okay. Here my father describes himself as, well, one of the highlights of his life, he died in 2004. This was on Saturday, June 7th, 2003. Ike Eisenstein is filled with pride. He is asked by the parents of Kenny Gould to lead the congregation in the singing responses of the morning service on the occasion of Kenny's bar mitzvah. And then he says, Ike is 81 years old, doesn't read music, was classified as a listener in his high school music class, rather than as a bass alto or tenor. So how did he arrive at this glorious Shabbat morning service? So, but let me tell you a little bit about he wrote about coming to Vero. So in 1990, retirement took us to the quiet town of Vero Beach in Florida. It's about 150 miles, oh, you know that. Among a population of 18,000, our best estimates tell us that we may have 300 to 500 Jewish families. I don't know if that still applies, but the town has 130 churches, 2 synagogues, 1 Reform and Conservative. We scouted out Temple Beth Shalom on Friday evening as visitors. We were delightfully surprised to find a singing congregation which we could join in with. In Vero, one can't be Jewish by osmosis. If you want to be Jewish, you have to do it yourself. So, since we felt comfortable with the shul, we joined and immediately became active. We organized a chorus, Shalom Singers, rehearsing weekly and performing 1 Friday evening per month. We lead the service responses and present 2 songs to enhance our members' knowledge of Jewish music. In 10 years, we have built up a repertoire of more than 100 songs in 5 languages: Hebrew, Yiddish, Aramaic, Ladino, and English. Alezah took an interest in several interfaith families, some members and some not, whose children were beginning to start school. She developed an interfaith couples chavurah. Alezah developed a format, wrote it up, and submitted it to this is how old it was UAHC, not URJ, competition, and our temple received a $1,000 prize for that, and deservedly so. Almost every family in the original groups became temple members. One father became a board member, and some of the mothers were teachers in our school. Alezah also arranged programs of interest for adults and seniors. She succeeded in bringing Jewish residents out of the woodwork and into our temple. I direct the Shalom Singers, who, here's your words, who bring Ruach to our services. I've also taught Yiddish and Hebrew reading in our adult learning program. This is his word, Jewing in Vero Beach via our little shul has become a very satisfying activity in our retirement years. So that was just a little bit. I realized in my career as a Cantor, once you've been in the field for 25 years, you get something called an honorary doctorate. Some of us call it the didn't die degree. But anyway, you're asked to write a biography, or to think back. So when I had to fit into like 3 sentences or so, I said, I think I got my love of Jewish music because we used to sing Hebrew songs around the dining room table. So I want to share one of those songs with you. The other thing is my father instilled in me, so my maiden name is Eisenstein, and you may know that Judith Eisenstein was the first bat mitzvah in this country. Her father, Mordecai Kaplan, she married an Eisenstein. Mordecai Kaplan was the founder of Reconstructionist Judaism, and he made sure he started bat mitzvah with his daughter. So I grew up knowing that there was a woman named Eisenstein who had been the first bat mitzvah. You have to remember, I grew up in the 60s. When I was growing up, there still weren't many women sharing, having bat mitzvahs, certainly not becoming clergy. So that was just a wonderful piece that I always had there. So there is somehow my father knew this, had participated in this cantata by Judith Eisenstein that takes a Hasidic story. Poor family doesn't have enough money for challah and has great songs. So here's what we used to sing around the table. One was this, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom, that's your part, Shalom. Okay. So I say, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom. Malachai Asharet. Now, next one's going to be a little bit longer. Malachai Elyon. Shalom, Shalom. Bimelech Malchei, Malchei Hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, and then there's a scene where the Hasidim see that something's up with the Rebbe. So they kind of call out to the rabbi like this, and there was a call and response also. Oy Rebbeinu, was is? How many people here know Yiddish? They're calling out, hey Rabbi, and he's going, what's up, what's up? Oy Rebbeinu, was is? Es is nito, kein Chale of Shabbos. The problem is there's no Challah for Shabbos. Es is nito, kein Chale of Shabbos. So, listen to the rabbi's answer. Sha, still, es wird sein. Der Rebbe sagt, es wird sein. So they're saying, be quiet and listen to the Rebbe. And he bursts into song. Oi, lekovet Shabbos bim, lekovet Shabbos bam, lekovet im heiligen Shabbos. Lekovet Shabbos bim, lekovet Shabbos bam, lekovet dem heiligen Shabbos. There was a taste of, but the B'tei Avon, when my father just loved the Hebrew language, and he transferred that to all of us as well. So when we would go on vacation with some of our friends, other families, and we'd go off on walks and hikes, and so we had a signal that you shouldn't get lost. If you lost the rest of your group, you would call out, Chag Sameach, and they had to say B'tei Avon. So here we are on a Chag, so it's very appropriate to say Chag Sameach, B'tei Avon, Chag Sameach. But thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and share with you again. Was ist das?
So here at Temple, Challah for Shabbos, what does the rabbi say? Let me get it out of the oven for you. So tonight we do have a freshly made challah, rabbi baked challah that is craisins, sour cherries, cocoa nibs with some chocolate on top. Don't worry. But we have started a ritual here at a custom here at Temple Beth Shalom that used to be a bar and bat mitzvahs. In fact, I think I remember standing here with your dad dodging candy, and actually Kenny's grandma is here. So we'll make sure Kenny knows that he got a mention here at services. And so instead of throwing candy at people, we've gone civilized. We have a packet, but these aren't just any candies. Do you know what these are? These are pomegranate peppers. Because as you know, a pomegranate is so much of a symbol of Jewish life that may our deeds of justice and righteousness, kindness, grace, and compassion be as plentiful as the seeds of a pomegranate. And do not worry, they're tree nut free. They're lactose free. They're kosher. It's cane sugar and fruit juice.
All right.
And so we give out these pomegranate puckers as a way of saying thank you. And the other beautiful thing is this is a bottomless bag of pomegranate puckers.
Okay.
Because once it's empty, you can come back and we will give you more.
Wonderful. Okay.
And just to realize how beshert this is, you are here on this Friday night. I've already mentioned the whole hurricane thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true, but we'll test it more. But we actually have Arnie and Loretta Silverberg are about to depart on a cruise. And where are they headed? They're headed to the Mediterranean, and so they'll be passing through Greece. And you remember I said I have a contact in Greece that I can connect you with. This is Marty's sister. Who thought when we had that conversation all of those months ago that Cantor Amy Daniels would be here the Friday night before you depart? That's how small the world is, how beshert it is. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And one of the things that you will see is us talk about the Ike and Alezah Music Fund. This was something your mom did for your dad, and then you did for your mom to join with your dad. We have had everybody from Sheldon Lowe to Rick Reck to Beth Schaefer to Julie Silver. We have had so many different programs here because our congregation has supported it in order to keep their Ruach and Koach, their spirit and strength alive. And so that was one of the reasons we wanted you to come, to remind everyone, but also just to give life to your dad's stories and to all of the wonderful things your parents did for our community. So thank you so much.
Love this.
And yes, you can totally share those.
Great.
Thank you so much.